Those, are you paying the girls? No. No. I don't got that kind of money. Yesterday, I announced the DSG team. And the reception has been very positive, so that makes me happy. There's been some like discourse around it, but I would say they are the vocal minority. Honestly, they're not that vocal. There's like some chatter about it, but I definitely would rather just focus on all the positive support people have been giving because I really appreciate it. I'm still very pleased about my golden check mark. I know it seems something like superficial to be proud about, but I love that golden check mark. That's a nice golden check mark. We have Jody, Kaide, Sydney, Tenzin, and Miss Tupperware playing in the GC Open qualifiers April 4th. So that would be fun. Obviously, there was some backlash about it, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. I'm still keeping my eye open on the GC scene. I actually approached a team from Thailand and was interested in signing them for Game Changers because I wanted to explore like the Asian market. Because I feel like with my DCG men's team, I kind of have like the NA market a little bit. So I was looking into the Thai market. And like there's a lot of conversations going on, right? And I don't make any of it public. I know I tweeted like a month ago, I'm looking for a GC player and I announced this team and people think, oh, was it all just like a publicity stunt? Did you actually have any intention? And yes, this team does not replace like a team of players who want to make pro play their living, you know? Because realistically, Jody, Kaide, and Sydney cannot dedicate time to practice for 8 hours a day while balancing a streaming life and a content creation life, right? But maybe like after this, Tenzin or Tupperware definitely might. I mean, maybe she'll stay pro. Maybe she'll be more interested in content creation. Same with Tenzin. Like, does she want to actually give pro a try? Because Tenzin, I feel like, is good enough. And she has played in GC tournaments before and have done well. So this is definitely more of a temporary thing because I couldn't realistically get a full team of serious players in under a month, like 3 weeks, right? I think I would just feel bad if I baited any players into joining and be like, I got nothing planned really. I just hope it's a positive experience for everyone. And I know one criticism is that I'm taking away spots from other GC players. And I just want to say to that the tournament is an open qualifier. There's no spots. Anyone can sign up. You don't have to sign up for this tournament through an org or through like DSG. You can literally just sign up. It's an open qualifier. You could get 4 buddies and sign up to the next one. They won't stop you. Anyone can do it. I just don't really understand the people who are upset about me taking a spot from someone else. It's an open tournament. And also if they're talking about like the DSG team, it's also my spot. It's my company. I can't do whatever I want. There's no, you can't guilt trip me into putting you on my team. I don't understand. And also, final thing, the spot is still like actively being looked into. Like Quarter Jade is not going to spend her next 2 years practicing every day, right? If I am getting into like GC2 or GC3 or GC next year, you're not competing with Quarter Jade for that spot, you know? Like it was either a temporary fun meme clout team or no team. This is not meant to replace a team of players who just want to compete, right? So hopefully that clears things up. Again, it's an open qualifier tournament. Originally they had 32 teams, and I asked, was it first come first serve? And they're like, yeah, it's first come first serve. By the sign up is open for 5 days. On the 3rd day, there were still spots available. Because I was super nervous. I'm like, oh my God, did I not make it? Am I still okay? Is there still spots? I asked on the 3rd day. They're like, yeah, no, we still got room, bro. And I filled it out. And on the 4th day, it filled up. And then they started like a wait list of a few teams. And they're like, hey, Riot, can we get 60 more slots? And then Riot granted those spots. And then the other problems happen where it's like, oh, we actually don't have 48 teams. So like we need to get more teams to sign up now. so that we can like reach the 48 team cap and have like more inclusion. And that's what ended up happening. So there was a lot of spots available for the entire event. Nothing was taken away from anyone. So I don't know. I'm trying to be understanding, but it just seems very odd to me that there was even any problems with this. And regarding like me not signing anyone who like everyone who responded to the tweet for the men's team, I probably DM'd exchange messages with like 30 pro players, and I think only one of them ended up on the team. The other 29, it's like no big deal. My conversation with those guys went way further, and at the very end, it's like, sorry, Ocean's just gonna like figure things out now, and nobody had a problem with that, right? They all understood it's like that's how teams work. Sometimes you get on team, sometimes you get a trial, sometimes you don't make it through. Definitely a different experience. I thought this one would go easier, but I actually feel like this one's way more stressful. Mainly because I'm also the team manager. I'm literally in the Discord with like 20-year-old like girls, and they're like signing up for their team, and I'm this like 30-year-old man signing up for my team. Like, okay, so what's the process like? What kind of forms should I fill out? Because most of these teams are just like 5 like friends playing together. And I'm in Discord asking questions like, okay, if I sign up on this day, will this be okay? What about streaming rules? How are the scrims going to be streamed? Isn't that against the rules? Don't you need consent? Yes. That's why we ask for consent. That's another thing where it's like, hey, DSG's breaking rules. They're streaming scrims. It's like, that's not a rule. There's no rule book on scrims, right? I mean, besides showing up on time and don't leak what you don't have permission to leak. And it's like Lydia Tupperware is responsible for like finding scrims, and she always tells them, it's like, hey, this is gonna be streamed. Apparently, a lot of teams are like, yeah, we know. That's why we want to scrim you guys. We want some eyeballs on our team. It feels like everyone is like, I'm a big proponent of finding like scenarios where everyone's winning, and this feels like everyone's winning. Like the opponents are winning, the players are getting experiences, like the coach Lydia's getting, as much as I like hate using the word, like some exposure. I don't like using the word exposure because it's like, hey, here's your payment, it's some exposure. But I just like being able to showcase talented people, and like there are just some people who would find a way to be upset about that, right? Is there a rank requirement for GC? Yeah, Ascendant. I like win-win-win-win situations. And right now, it feels like that, but the online discourse has added stress to some of like the players on the team because they feel like pressure. It's like, oh, are we not supposed to be here? Are we not welcome here? And I feel really bad about that, right? And it's also pressure on Tupperware as well, because it's like she's actually from the space. So I think that's the only thing that's been a little stressful for me. Toast, the criticism was not talking about GC spot, but a spot that could be salaried going to streamers. But no one's getting salaried on this team either. There's no money. There's no money. There's no money. Whose salary? Not my salary. I'm down $500,000 this year. Who's paying that? They might not know that. See, again, like I can understand that thinking if I didn't outright say no pay, but I can ask Tarek to raid your stream if we win, which I will. I will ask him. And even with this tweet, I had people saying like, wow, that's really fucked up that you would take advantage of women, but you pay your men's team. There's no winning. I'm trying my best. But again, I recognize that it's just like a minority of people that thinks like this, and that overall the sentiment has been super supportive. So I really appreciate everyone like cheering on the girls. For the record, DSG is not like a real esports org yet. We have made $0, and 100% of the money has literally come from my personal bank account, you know. There's no investors' money. There's no other income. We're not shilling anything. Man, you're changing the header. Exalt. I think Exalt is such a great entertainer, and I have no doubt he'll still continue to be successful. And who knows, maybe down the road we'll meet again. But One thing I'm getting used to is the idea of like you can't get attached to your players too much, unfortunately. Because every time like Ocean, like he's not planning to like make any big changes, but like sometimes I would have conversation with him like, oh, you know, what happens if this happens and what happens if this happens? Well, he's like, well, if that happens, then we might have to like replace this person with that person. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You can't give away one of my kids, right? But that's what esports is, right? So I think esports is interesting in that players change extremely often compared to traditional sports. Like in traditional sports, like players still move around. But for example, LeBron James was with the Cleveland Cavaliers for what, 6 years? And then Miami for 3 years, and then Cavaliers for 3 years, and then Lakers for like 4 years, right? When they change teams, it's usually in like 4 or 5 years interval, especially if they're the star player. But in esports, I think only Faker really comes to mind as someone who has stayed with a team for a long time, right? Tens is on Sentinels for the last, how long? 2 years? Before that, he was Cloud9. Bjergsen, yeah, Bjergsen's a big one. He was with TSM for so long. But notice how 80% of chat is saying Bjergsen. It's because there's not a lot of options, right? Like everyone knows the big names because there's like, you could count like maybe 5 or 6 of them. Kobe Bryant, Lakers, Michael Jordan, Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, Raptors, Tim Duncan, Tony, what's his name? Tony Sopranos? No, not Tony Soprano. It's Tony Parker. There you go. And I'm just naming basketball. But when it comes to esports, it's like you got your Bjergsens, you got your Faker. Definitely much rarer in esports. So I don't know. One bad BO3 and team change. Yeah, I mean, the lock-in event wasn't even like considered. It's not like the World Championship, right? It was literally one tournament, one BO1 tournament to kick off the season, and Cloud9 kicked half their team, right? Some has been on Energy for a while. Yeah, Som's another one. I think Energy definitely loves Som. I mean, everyone loves Som. And also, I think there's a big reason why Som is like in all the big NRG content. This might sound fucked, but this is 100% of NRG's YouTube content, and this is 99% of NRG's YouTube content. That's a joke. Artist is pretty funny. I'm kidding. I'm just a big fan of Som, and he's also just really good at the game too. Like I think Som is one of the best examples of the most balanced Valorant player/content creator. He's on a pro team. He's good at it. He's got a good stream, and he's got a good YouTube channel. Like he's the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet of like an ideal Valorant content creator. No bro online yet. God damn. His last title is You're Late. I'm late. We know that, Tarek. You've been late to every fucking stream. I had to call him to wake up for like the Sentinel versus Fnatic game.